In an era when pop stars chase viral trends, Bruno Mars is doing something radically different. He's slowing the world down. This week, the global superstar unveiled Romantic Radio, an interactive platform where fans can submit voice notes and create personalized song dedications for someone they love, a move that feels less like marketing and more like a handwritten love letter in the digital age. The launch of Romantic Radio marks a new chapter for Bruno Mars, blending nostalgia, intimacy, and cutting-edge fan engagement. Through the platform, listeners can record heartfelt messages, share their own love stories, and potentially hear their dedication woven into a curated musical moment inspired by Mars himself. It's a concept that aligns seamlessly with the emotional tone of his latest creative era, and one that underscores why he remains one of the most culturally influential artists of his generation. For longtime observers of Bruno Mars, this evolution feels both surprising and inevitable. Born Peter Gene Hernandez in Honolulu, Hawaii, Mars was raised in a family steeped in music. By the time he was a child, he was already impersonating Elvis Presley on stage. That early exposure to performance shaped his understanding of audience connection, not just spectacle but intimacy. His breakthrough arrived in the early 2010s with a string of hits that redefined modern pop. Songs like Just the Way You Are and Grenade established him as a melodic craftsman. But it was his genre-blending instinct, merging funk, R&B, soul, reggae, and pop, that set him apart. Albums such as Doo-Wops and Hooligans and Unorthodox Jukebox showcased his versatility, while 24K Magic cemented his status as a live performance powerhouse. By the time he stepped onto the Super Bowl stage and dominated arenas worldwide, Bruno Mars was no longer just a hitmaker. He was an institution. Yet behind the sequin jackets and retro grooves lies a meticulous architect of sound. Industry insiders often describe Mars as one of the most hands-on artists in the studio. He co-writes, co-produces, and obsesses over arrangements. A veteran music executive who has worked with him described his process bluntly. Bruno doesn't release anything unless it feels timeless. He's allergic to disposable music. That commitment to timelessness explains why Romantic Radio feels authentic rather than gimmicky. In a streaming ecosystem built on algorithms, Mars is recentering the human voice literally. Fans submit voice notes sharing why someone special deserves a dedication. Some recount long-distance relationships. Others share reconciliation stories. A few simply say, "I love you." The concept transforms listeners into collaborators, echoing the old tradition of late-night love song call-ins but reimagined for 2026. The cultural timing is striking. America's pop landscape has become increasingly digitized and detached. Playlists update by the hour, trends explode and vanish overnight. Romantic Radio counters that pace with emotional permanence. It leans into vulnerability, something Bruno Mars has always balanced carefully with swagger. Music critic Amanda Keller recently noted, Bruno Mars understands romance as performance art, but he also understands sincerity. That's a rare combination in modern pop. Her observation captures the duality that defines his brand. On stage, he's electrifying. Off stage, he's intensely private. Romantic Radio bridges that divide, allowing fans a glimpse into the softer architecture of his artistry. The move also reinforces his broader influence on American pop culture. Over the past decade, Bruno Mars has helped revive classic funk and soul aesthetics for a new generation. His collaborative project with Anderson, .Paak under the Silk Sonic banner reintroduced lush harmonies and live instrumentation to mainstream radio. Younger artists now openly cite him as proof that musicianship still matters in the streaming era. Producers across Los Angeles say Mars' success has quietly shifted industry standards. He raised the bar for live performance again, one Grammy-winning producer shared. After Bruno, you can't just stand there and sing, you have to entertain. That expectation has rippled across award shows, tour, and televised events, redefining what audiences demand from pop stars. Romantic Radio extends that philosophy beyond the stage. It treats fans not as passive consumers but as participants. In an age when parasocial relationships dominate celebrity culture, Mars is offering something interactive yet grounded. It's curated, it's intentional, and it feels distinctly on brand. The business implications are just as significant. Interactive experiences have become essential tools for sustaining artist relevance between album cycles. But unlike many branded activations, Romantic Radio centers music itself rather than merchandise. It's storytelling through song. By inviting fans to record their own dedications, Bruno Mars reinforces the emotional core of his catalog: love, heartbreak, reconciliation, celebration. Behind the scenes, sources close to the production say the idea had been percolating for years. Mars reportedly wanted to recreate the feeling of listening to late-night R&B radio in the early 2000s, when callers would whisper confessions into the microphone and DJs would spin a slow jam in response. Translating that analog intimacy into a digital platform required careful design. The goal, according to a creative consultant involved in the project, was simple: make it feel human. That emphasis on humanity may be Bruno Mars' greatest competitive advantage. While many artists lean into spectacle, controversy, or hypervisibility, Mars has maintained a relatively scandal-free public profile. He lets the music carry the narrative. When headlines do appear, they're often about sold-out residencies or award milestones rather than tabloid drama. And the milestones are substantial. Multiple Grammy Awards, diamond-certified singles, record-breaking tour, Las Vegas residencies that sell out within hours. Each achievement strengthens his reputation as both commercial powerhouse and artistic craftsman, yet romantic radio suggests he's less interested in tallying trophies than in deepening emotional resonance. There's also a generational element at play. Millennials who grew up with his early hits are now entering stages of life defined by marriage, long-term partnership, and nostalgia. Gen Z listeners, meanwhile, are discovering his catalog through streaming and viral performance clips. Romantic radio taps into both demographics. It's sentimental enough for older fans and interactive enough for younger ones. Culturally, the initiative signals a broader shift in how superstars sustain longevity. Rather than chasing constant reinvention, Bruno Mars is refining his core themes: romance, groove, showmanship, emotional clarity. These elements have anchored his brand from the beginning. Now they're being delivered in a format that feels both retro and futuristic. Industry analyst Mark Davidson frames it this way: Bruno Mars has mastered the art of controlled evolution. He doesn't pivot wildly, he expands. Romantic radio is an expansion of what he's always done, making people feel something real. That emotional consistency is perhaps why audiences remain fiercely loyal. In a fragmented music market, loyalty is currency, and few artists command it like Bruno Mars. Concertgoers describe his shows as communal celebrations. Fans often travel across states or countries to see him perform. The romantic radio platform extends that sense of shared experience beyond the arena. From a storytelling perspective, the launch also reframes Mars' public narrative. For years, his image leaned heavily on high-energy funk revivalism. Gold chains, precision choreography, party anthems, romantic radio brings the spotlight back to the balladeer who once wrote aching hooks about heartbreak and devotion. It reminds audiences that beneath the flash lies a songwriter who understands vulnerability. As the music industry navigates rapid technological change, from AI-generated tracks to immersive virtual concerts, the enduring appeal of a simple love dedication feels almost radical. It suggests that connection, not novelty, drives longevity. Bruno Mars appears to understand that instinctively. Looking ahead, the question isn't whether Bruno Mars will remain relevant. It's how he will continue redefining relevance on his own terms. Romantic radio may be a single project, but it encapsulates a philosophy: honor the past, embrace the present, and center emotion above all. If history is any indication, this chapter won't be his last reinvention, but it might be one of his most revealing. In inviting fans to speak, to confess, to dedicate, Bruno Mars is amplifying voices beyond his own. And in doing so, he's proving that even in a hyper-accelerated culture, romance still sells, especially when it's sincere. For an artist who built his empire on timeless melodies and magnetic performances, romantic radio feels less like a promotional stunt and more like a statement. Bruno Mars isn't just releasing music, he's curating moments. And if this trajectory continues, his influence on American pop culture won't just endure, it will echo, dedication by dedication, long into the next generation.